It is 6:01 p.m., Monday, March 7th, 2016. I'd like to call the Newfane Selectboard meeting to order. Welcome everybody here, including Shannon and BCTV. First order of business is the minutes from February 22nd. Have people
Carol
had
might
it?
have had an addition that she wanted to make before any other action was taken.
Yes, I just wanted to add to the agenda that we included tonight discussing and making a decision about our official newspaper.
Yeah, we can put that right under appointments.
Okay.
It was tabled from the last meeting.
Yep.
We can do that. Anybody else? Can
Would that be under old business?
well, it's appointments, so it could be. All right, minutes of February 22nd. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Do we ever make minutes from?
They were emailed on the 23rd.
Okay.
What I saw was fine.
I'll make a motion. Approve the minutes.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of February 22nd. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining?
I'm saying, since I wasn't in that meeting.
4 yes and 1 abstention. I don't have a road foreman's road commissioner's report due to being at the firehouse all day working on the fire truck, so I'll get that the next meeting. Scheduled members of the public. Doesn't appear that we have any.
Nope.
Unscheduled members of the public. Doesn't appear that we have any.
I know somebody was coming,
Yes.
but maybe they'll be here later.
All right.
Yep.
New business.
Under new business, I'm going to be away the 2 meetings in April. I'm going to someplace where they can spell winter, but they've never seen one.
Very nice.
Or mud.
Should we take a vote as to whether we're going to let them do that or not?
Yes, I think we should.
Motion to adjourn.
I second that. Is there any discussion? He started it. You heard it. He said it. Don't look at me. He said it. Old business. Town office building.
Okay. I spoke to David Cotton, and David would like to, if possible, have another board member on the town office, the town office building committee. And so, if anybody feels like they need to can step up, and we basically meet once or twice a month and go over we have in the past and gone over the plan, but we have a feasibility study out now, and so I think that kind of intense meeting is past, but we do need to get together and finish it up. And then also David would like to have a most likely a Saturday meeting, but it doesn't have to be Saturday, where it would be a special meeting for the board. And the building committee with David Cotton and associates would meet with us and go over the feasibility study with, not a fine-tooth comb, but go through it together with the entire board so that we all understand it, and we ask questions about it in preparation for a future special meeting with the public. So I'm bringing that to the meeting here for discussion and ideas. He said that it's important to have, it would be important to have 2 board members. Dennis was on the building committee last time, so if anybody feels like stepping up,
I'd be happy to do that.
okay, that's
Sure.
great. And we probably should be looking at the calendar for some options to give to David for a meeting with the entire board. So,
I think he also said he'd like to have the planning commission attend.
I'm sorry?
David also said, I think, when I spoke to him last, that he'd like to invite the planning commission to attend that meeting.
Okay, I did not hear that, but,
I could be wrong, but we spoke about it very recently,
okay.
and you can check with him.
Okay. All right. So, when is a good time? Perhaps next month? Are you? Are
I'm gonna be
you?
gone next month, but I'm gonna be leaving anytime between now and the latter part of March is fine. Anytime in the first part of May. Or
Well,
I can
March.
always Skype in.
Yeah. What time? When in March are you?
Leaving the day after our next meeting. So
Ah.
23rd, 24th, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to get together there. What's the best way to schedule a meeting with everyone? Through email?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just have to do that through
Yeah.
email, and because he wants all of us to be there.
Carol, when you said that there are 2 meetings a month,
No, that's what we've had in the past.
so what are you, I thought you said that
No.
there are 2 meetings a month.
That's what we did as a
Yeah.
building committee in the past when
Right.
we were putting everything together.
So what are you planning on from now on?
Well, David just wants to have a meeting with all of us to go through the entire feasibility study so that we all understand it and ask questions and make suggestions and finalize it.
Okay, so my understanding, and I'm obviously understanding it wrong, when you were saying that you would, David would like to have another member of the board join in.
Right.
I thought you were describing the job description and saying, well, we meet twice a month. And so my question was, how long are you thinking that you're going to be meeting twice a month for this building?
I think we're done meeting twice
Well, that's-
on the
that's
building
what I
committee.
thought.
We met in the past because we were so busy putting together ideas.
I
And
don't think it will be.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
I didn't even know that a building committee was still functioning.
it is. It took a little break. It took a break. And then we had a changing of the guard. And Gary has stepped up into Dennis's position, and I spoke to David yesterday, and he's ready to go forward. I think we're ready to go forward.
Well, he's wanting to know
Yeah.
what's happening
Right.
with the town.
So he'd
and
like to
how
have a
they-
meeting with all of us. this month.
Absolutely.
This
So,
month.
well, he didn't say this month, but he appeared that we need to
Soon.
move this
Well, I guess I'm
train
getting
along.
at,
We need-
Gary's gonna be gone the whole
Yeah,
month of
that's what I'm
April.
thinking. That's
It
gonna
should
be.
happen this month, that way it gives him
Yeah.
leeway to do what he's gonna do.
Yep.
So is
Well-
this the subject on the, currently being discussed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I understand the plan has been drawn, right? The book is ready?
Yes.
The
So
draft
David
book
has,
is ready.
David has finished his job.
Yes and no. The feasibility study isn't carved in stone. It can still be changed, tweaked, and it's just a study. But when we actually eventually go to the citizens in special meetings, which would hopefully take place sometime in the spring, he wants all of us to be on board and have it ready to go. And that's, so we've just gotta, we need to get together to do that.
I was under the impression that we were gonna have a meeting in January before the annual meeting. The annual meeting would have a warning saying yay or nay, and based on the warning on the meeting answer, we'd proceed, because we need, what, $400,000 somehow?
That was our hope. But we got busy and we decided that we're going to just move it beyond the town meeting and pick it up in the spring and, work on it this year. There was just too many things coming together before town
So
meeting.
in effect, it'll be on the agenda for next town meeting.
Right.
Oh, okay,
Or a special town meeting.
Or a special session, yes.
okay. So spring is next week, so
Well,
hurry up.
Well,
Aye,
there's
aye.
a chance, can he do it at our next meeting?
It's something where, I suppose so, we can talk to him about that. I think
I mean,
he
if
kind
we
of,
started the meeting a half hour early,
yeah,
Sure.
that could
That'd be
happen.
great.
So maybe we can contact him.
that works for everybody else, I don't know.
So this will be a joint meeting between the select board and the planning commission?
No, it'll
No,
be
planning,
The towning,
The-
the town.
town
the
planning.
town building committee.
Right, but my understanding
the-
was that the planning commission was also to be invited.
I
No.
thought that, well, Gunther, I spoke to David recently, and I thought he said to me, because he was asking me what was going on and, you know, are we interested in moving forward something? And then he said that he'd like to have a meeting with the residents of the town. And then I thought, but I'm not 100% sure, that he also said to me it would be good if the planning commission could come to that meeting. You don't think
No,
he
the
said?
planning commission has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have their own problems.
Seemed to me.
So I guess we
Opportunities.
need to just discuss putting together a meeting with David.
Mhm.
Suggestions?
Oh, I suggested having it the
You
next meeting.
suggested on the,
I mean, it'd be better if probably getting together on a Saturday or anything.
Maybe on the 21st?
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I need to talk to David.
Either come in early or have it during the meeting.
Are you looking at February 21st?
I thought I was looking at March.
Yeah.
March is,
March is
oh,
21st.
Monday, the 21st.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I can see if he's available.
Just
Yeah.
email everybody.
I mean, the town committee is on the agenda every meeting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to do any special planning even.
Okay,
All right, anything else? Hearing none. Animal complaint.
I spoke with Rich Carroll and he asked me to email him the ordinance and send him the link to the big book of Wolf. So I've done that and given him the background and also have sort of introduced Rich to Mike so that he can fill in the rest of the background information. And so he will take all of that research, look into it, and come back with recommendations for the board.
Good. Anybody got anything else for that?
Just to play the newbie here, who's Rich? And,
Rich Carroll is the town attorney,
Okay.
yeah. And Mike Young is the animal
Yep.
control.
Anybody else?
Isn't the dog owner under admonition to keep the dogs under control and they've gotten out again?
Yes, we went
So-
into executive session on that.
So theoretically, she now gets a letter saying, you're done.
Well, like I said, we went into executive session, so we really can't
Mm.
discuss it. Other than that, we've got an attorney involved in it now to make
I
sure we do that.
understand that she's got 2 more pregnant dogs, so in a little while she's gonna have 40 dogs running around up there, or down there, or wherever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're not taken care of, like wormed and shot and all of that good stuff.
I don't know.
It's a lot of money, so
Mm.
she may not have it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if she has received the fine from a fine. Remember we had a
I
fine
think
for
we
them
just
mosquitoes?
discussed that and said to wait until
Discussed
after we
Oh,
got
okay.
it.
Right.
All right,
I know she received one from the game warden,
Right.
oh,
but not from the town as of yet.
okay.
We were waiting to see what the legal stuff was gonna do. Anything else on the animal complaint? Appointments. Did you listen to the tape?
I
Sorry.
worked
There's
with-
some that we don't have,
Right, I worked with Gary and he told me who was appointed.
right.
The DRB, the way I wrote it was a little funny, so there were 3 expired terms, but some of them are not interested. So I need to work with them and contact them and
Yeah.
come back with recommendations. But
I think most of them were people that we didn't have last year either, so.
right, so really, I just got back in the office today,
Yeah.
so
Maybe by next meeting or something, we can
yeah,
get it.
So
need a little more time on that.
if I'm looking at the DRB, all the members' terms have expired.
No, three
Yeah.
of them.
Okay,
The
so
top
No, it
three.
it says
Rue. I know.
term expired, term expired, term expired, term expired. So,
No, but then it goes to Shannon,
it
but
needs to be-
right,
it
it
needs to
goes
be
to
renewed.
these. I know,
it needs to be renewed, or,
right.
She just has to update it.
yeah, okay.
She said she had it.
There are a
fine.
few who are not interested, but I will get that all organized for you.
So really the only thing we need to do for as far as appointments tonight would be the newspaper. We're gonna wait, talk to you about the newspaper, because I like the Commons, but I also know the Commons is only a weekly newspaper, so if we go to legal notices,
So
we can't.
really, you pay for legal notices whether you've made them your newspaper of record or not. So
But if
I
we
see
do it
no-
through the Commons, then we pay through them too, so we pay double
Right.
pay, so.
you pay either way, so it doesn't matter who you pick.
But it's on insert. It's not on a contract.
Right.
Okay.
So I think that as a matter of tradition, towns have named their newspaper of record, but I don't think it's as formal as it used to be. So you can really use both and pick one as the formal, newspaper
I
of
like that
record.
idea.
Doesn't it make sense though to have the daily newspaper so that you could, like if we have a special meeting come up, we can get it into the paper,
You can do that anyway.
can't with the Commons.
No, but it doesn't matter because you can still use the Reformer even though the Commons is your official newspaper.
Yeah.
So it would be the
So-
same, it would be the same money.
Yeah.
Yep, so there wouldn't be any extra cost, because if you had a special meeting and you were gonna slip it into the Commons because it was within their time that you could put something in, it would cost extra, just like if you went to the Reformer.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
the
So do we
Commons
really need
isn't
to-
even available every day. Right?
So do we really need to even pick a newspaper? Just, why can't we just use them both?
You certainly can. I tried to look in statute and find where it says you absolutely have to do this. I couldn't find one.
I'm comfortable with
The
just
best I could
using
find
whichever one we
was
want to use when we need it.
VLCT said you may use your organizational meeting to choose your newspaper of record.
so it's a May, you don't have to?
That's what I read.
Can you check into that for the next meeting too? I
Well,
mean,
that's
right
what
now,
I
we'll
did.
just use them
I
both.
couldn't find it.
I think we should use them both.
The gentleman who was here said that their advertising rates were
Less.
Yes, considerably
They
less
are.
than the
They
Reformer,
are.
I
even
mean,
though they only publish weekly.
we've always chosen the Reformer as our official newspaper and then used them both anyway. So I guess what I'm saying, it doesn't really matter.
I would make a motion, we just use them both then.
A second.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion of just using both newspapers? Is there any discussion?
Now, what are you talking about, just for legal things, or?
Anything.
Everything.
We use them both anyway,
Anything
so.
or everything.
Because, I mean, they used to have a reporter come around, right?
The Commons said they would be having a reporter covering us, that Mike had
She-
moved from the
She really
Reformer.
is, but she watches the video.
Yep, okay.
And actually, I got a message on my voicemail that in the past year, there have been 58 Newfane articles
That's right.
in the comments.
Yep. Which have been much more than are in the Reformer.
And that we paid for, right?
No,
those
these
are
are
just
the-
So
Or
that's
they
all
pay
it's
for
for.
it.
That's why I say, so when a guy sits here writing for the paper, that's just on them.
That's on
Right.
them.
Right.
So really, the only thing you pay for is legal notice.
That's
Right.
it.
Right.
And their distribution is about a third more than the Reformer.
And the thing that I really like is that Mike Fair, who is just a fantastic writer and very thorough and has always been kind to this town in his articles, is now writing for the Commons. So since he was let go from the former. So I
Right.
think we should use both.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? The
If
ayes
for some
have it.
reason I find out you can't do that, I'll let you know, but I couldn't find anything.
Alright. Unfinished business, FEMA closeouts,
That says update, it's not.
so there's nothing new there. Personnel policy, there's nothing new there right now, we have to work on that at some point. Did you think that you said somebody was coming?
I thought so, but
Maybe it's done for.
For,
Well, yes, would you,
what was,
do you have anything you wanted to say?
oh, they
Yes,
wanted
the
to talk to the
Downton
board
Abbey
about
is
wages.
Downton Abbey is over, you're right.
Okay, so you're
Uh-huh.
not panicking anymore.
Uh-huh, that's good.
so shoot,
Um,
did you tell them what time they'd be on the agenda?
Started, I didn't tell him he'd be done in 20 minutes though.
That's what I'm wondering.
who is coming?
She didn't tell me, just somebody that wants to talk about wages and elected officials.
Wages of and elected officials?
A townsperson was coming,
Oh,
but
they're not here.
here. I did tell him the meeting started at 6, I just didn't tell him it would get out at 20 after.
Oh,
Maybe we could do correspondence,
There isn't any.
did we?
so we can't do
Did
correspondence.
we ever get a bill from the state police?
Not yet. So they come mid-month, so I think when you asked, it must have just come and just been paid.
Like 2 pay orders ago, there was a
So-
bill there and it had everything that he did on it. It was right on the
Yeah,
back side of it.
I want to. We decided February 1st in a February 1st meeting that we would start reading those for the
It
public.
was in the pay orders, 'cause I saw it.
So yeah, they'll always be when they come, but we don't expect the next one until the 15th of March.
Okay.
So the second pay order in March, it should be
Okay.
there.
Are we staying with the police?
State
I
police.
think they've done a good
I think
job.
they've done a really good job.
Yeah,
You see them patrolling a lot more on the back roads and
Yes.
they've actually helped us out quite a bit on fire calls and stuff like that, so.
As a business owner, I'm really pleased that they're here.
Yeah.
Because if there is an emergency, it'll be so that the officer who's patrolling will be able to respond immediately, rather than have to come all the way from Brattleboro. And I think that's important.
Well, a lot of the times I hear they're not charging the town too, so I mean,
Right.
because, you know, for other calls and stuff, he said that doesn't go against what we pay him.
What we should do is have Lieutenant Favreau come in sometime between now and July 1st.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, we can discuss it with him some more. All right, we can start on pay orders and see if they show up. Don't know how many pay orders there are, they're right there.
Are we still on?
It's up to you.
I'll sit for a few minutes.
Let's see if somebody comes in. Shannon and I are gonna work on that letter to the departments this coming week at some point. I've got mutual aid to email me all the departments with their emails. They said usually it's better to try to email
This
them
one also.
and stuff like that, so they're supposed to give me everybody's emails. So once they get it, we want to do something.
Yeah, I think it's really important to show our appreciation to everyone.
Yeah.
Here we are, okay.
We've got
It's amazing at the annual
So,
meeting
do you want,
How
how about if I wrote this?
uninformed the people are as to who does what for the town
Okay.
on emergencies.
All
Nobody has the
service,
slightest idea what
$70.
mutual aid is or who they are.
Yeah.
And
all
it's very
service,
important
$70.
for the fire department especially, for people to know that they have an umbrella organization that
Okay,
helps them
Fisher,
out as, like across the road, as needed. And without them, the whole system falls apart.
Right. They're outstanding over there.
Brattleboro, New England
A lot of times the
newspaper,
dispatchers will
6251.
be thinking of stuff that we haven't thought of. Come over the radio and said, you know, do you need Green Mountain Power? Or, you know, do you need something else? Or do you need the state police? Or can we set up, should we get a hold of DOT for you to set up
Card
detour
bill,
signs, which they did the other night?
$2,700.
Just goes on and on and on, so you don't have to think about it quite so much.
Okay, and then there,
And the other thing is, I was
Three
amazed
other
as to
payments.
all the people that are involved in it. Finally, Dick Merritt, explained it.
$2,722.
Somebody should have immediately, I was gonna do that, I was
And
gonna
then
get up
there's
immediately and
two.
say something. But, you know, I let it develop and it worked out.
Yeah, I was cutting trees that day, so I didn't get there.
Wait, can I see something?
Sure.
But I'm glad it
Oh,
went
he's
through.
the
I
two.
I couldn't believe it was even brought up. But
Okay.
The other thing I don't understand at the annual meeting,
$2,657.
Freeman thing on adding the two items to the budget, just on her own. That should have been challenged more.
$2,778.19.
Hello.
You wanna stop?
sure. We've been eagerly awaiting your appearance.
Oh, come on, Todd.
We have.
We have, we're all done.
When you watch it, when you go home and watch this on BCTV, you'll see that we have slowed the meeting down just for you.
Oh, Todd! Get this on TV.
It's the whole board. But we are up to whatever you would like to speak at.
Oh, thanks. In case you don't know me, I'm Tristram Johnson, Gary.
Yes.
Newfane. I had just two observations. One was that 3-4 years ago, I was really interested in how the town arrived at raises and encouraged the town, the select board, specifically to look at some sort of performance evaluation process that would allow the select board to feel like they were offering raises that made sense, and that it would be a tool to report to the community that would, you know, placate some people who always argue against raises. That you could say that, yes, we evaluated the performance, however you want to do it, but it would, a tool. It appears like something like that did happen. But the next piece of that, which I've just dealt with in the own organization I'm running, is where have you thought at all about the point where you have to cap raises or salary, rather. Salary, so that you can't add more raises. I did a quickie, and about 30% of your annual budget is dedicated to compensation, the gross package, both for fiscal 16, fiscal 17 that you're proposing or proposed. And so I have no idea where your threshold is, but it just seems like at some point raises can't happen because you hit a ceiling, but you need to be able to say thank you. We've got to be able to say I appreciate the world of what you've done, but simply can't give you any more money. So I'm just throwing that out there for you all to think about whether there is a point when you have to do that. So that was one thought. The second category I wanted to offer, and this is rather unique, that an individual is able to run for multiple office positions, elected positions, can be elected to those positions, but because they're elected positions, the oversight of the persons accomplishing those jobs, singularly or in total, rests in the hands of the electorate, which, as we all know, is pretty faulty. I mean, you really don't know as an electorate whether someone actually did their job. So I don't know if it's legal, but I would wonder whether the select board could look into whether whether there's a maximum number of elected positions a person could hold.
There's not.
What?
There is not.
There is not.
And as long as they're not incompatible offices, they can run for them.
Yeah.
There's actually a table that tells people,
Right.
if you're this, you can't run for this.
Uh-huh.
But there's no, and of course the select board has
You already
no.
did your research, didn't you?
I did.
Because you knew I was going to bring this up.
I did. And of course the select board has no authority over
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah, it's a really awkward thing where someone has the right to run for public office.
Yeah.
And you just sit in your chairs and watch because that's about all you can do. But look at it from my side and seeing that it did occur. How does one feel confident that, in fact, 100% of the jobs were accomplished? Since we don't have town manager structure, We don't have that supervisory level that allows all of us to feel like, the coordination is the best, the collaboration is the best, the unified productivity is the best. We're missing that. So in the meantime, we have what we have. So anyway.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for coming in.
Sure.
It's great to have people here. And are you speaking about this out of being at the town meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Can I ask you, nobody discussed the salaries at the town meeting
Right.
that were given.
Right.
And so, can I ask you why it's coming up now with you? Why didn't you bring it up at the town meeting, or what is your thinking about it?
I almost did, but I thought it'd be better just to bring it here first, to allow you all to have a chance to think about it. To blindside you with a topic like that in front of the public is not very fair.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
No, I was surprised, it didn't come up because I've been at town meetings where it does come up and there's big
Right.
upsets and everything.
Right.
And I can just speak for myself. This is the first time I've been on select board to do a budget.
Yeah.
And I've been very, very impressed with how seriously this board takes every line item and then specifically for salaries.
Yeah.
This is not a light topic. It is talked about. The people who hold the particular positions are being discussed and talked about in terms of the quality of the work they've done and is there a merit for a raise. And it's been a very impressive process for me to observe and then to be part of. So just from my point of view, it's not taken lightly at all. And it's a very serious thing that we all work on together, and it took a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, I did feel that based on, Greg Record had sort of annually been the voice of, we shouldn't be giving raises.
Right.
And I followed up on that once with his suggestion about, is there some sort of review process? So, it feels like that, something like that has happened. But the fact that I gave a raise to an employee who, in my own company, and we both agreed that that's the ceiling, and there just can't be any more. And so it's been sitting on my mind because it wasn't that long ago. And so when I looked at the town and thought about the history, just wondered whether there was a point that you all realized there is a ceiling. That's all. It's not that I'm screaming about anyone in particular.
No, I understand,
in
and I
general.
appreciate your concern about this. We have to have other people respond to this, but how does one know at the beginning of the year, what the economy is going to be like the next year? If we have a good economy and people are really working hard and doing wonderful jobs, I certainly wouldn't think that it was a bad thing to give them a raise if it was due and valid. If that same person is doing a great job and we have a bad recession, of course there's going to be a different discussion.
Right.
I think one of the things Tristan's talking about is just like the elected officials.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But we don't
But I mean,
control their salaries.
No, I know.
Yes, you do.
I know.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
I mean, the line
Yeah.
item, yes, but not the review.
but it always
Yeah.
used to be in the
No, we
warnings too, and told how much they were each making. And that's what we said. I mean, what happens if one of them gets voted out?
Right.
The new person comes in and gets that raise, And that's one of the reasons, one thing, back a year or two ago when they tried to make it so the selectmen would have the right to do the hiring of the town clerks and all of it, because it would, and it only made it more fair for even the people that was doing them jobs. Now, because, legally, you don't have to pay insurance and all that stuff for elected officials. So, if they say, they're getting $36,000 or $38,000, and when they vote on that, it's like they used to be show it on the budget thing, they'd say it was $36,000. Well, if they're collecting, all the benefits with the hospital insurance, we know how much that's adding up, like a family plan adds up to about $2,000 a month. So, there's another 24,000 on top of the 36, and now now you're looking at 60, so it's a whole different salary, whereas But if it was hired,
Mhm.
like that's what they tried to do that time, but people didn't really like the idea of it. But I mean, it was only everybody was just trying to make it more fair. And I said, at least they're hired, you know, you could have an interview them. Because like he's saying, if it's elected, it could be anybody.
Our unelected employees on step and grade system, where they have a job description which begins at a certain step, and they move through that, and at the end of it, it doesn't go any higher. Okay.
No.
That would be one solution, is that the employees are all on step and grade systems, where the job description is defined based on experience around the state, and then an amount is applied to that, and each year, through your performance, you can move up until you reach a certain point, then you cap out. Then at that point, your increases are based on cost of living.
Are you talking primarily about elected officials rather than employees?
Actually, it's probably more directed at employees.
Ah,
But it's just in general. I mean, it really comes from the fact that I just crossed this threshold with my own in the company that I'm directing, and because of the background of questions about raises in the town at the town meeting, and then looking at the percent of the total budget dedicated to compensation, it was just a curiosity, nothing more. So I'm not pointing at any category, just raising the question about, is there a threshold? Have you thought about when the threshold might have to be defined? Because at some point, maybe it has to happen. But we've all, we know that that Greg has been really vocal about that topic, but and rightly so. And I'm sorry that the conversation at the town meeting doesn't allow you a way to say objectively how you arrived at raises. I really wish you would, because I think people need to understand that. But I don't know there's a way that you could do that.
Well, I can respond in terms of, I think I said it at the town meeting, that these budget meetings are open to the public.
Right.
And if people have concerns from November till January about things, and we had so many extra meetings about budget, it's a time when you can come, and I don't mean you, but one can come and voice their concerns and questions, but then we have a deadline, and we're working towards that, and we spend a lot of hours, and I can only talk about this past year. God knows what they've gone through in the past, but
Oh, the whole thing is really getting out of hand is the insurances. I mean, that's one reason, like they were down last year and stuff like that, because I mean, all of a sudden that thing jumped. And it's jumped since we took it back, this new policy, since the affordable insurance went in, it's jumped 20 grand in the last 2 years. I mean, it's just like you're saying too, I mean, you can't give out a lot of raise when you start handing another 20 grand on top of what it's already going,
I mean, the economy isn't fantastic, and people have to cobble together several jobs, and we all know that, and sometimes it pinches. But then sometimes the capacity to really compensate fairly isn't there, and we sometimes need to be honest about that limit, and do absolutely everything possible to be appreciative and respectful and thankful. But sometimes it may not be. Actually, there was a third item I just remembered. So let's jump to that one, so we don't beat the others to death. Kim Friedman brought up that amendment to the budget because two not-for-profits didn't get their bid in on time, and so there was a lot of conversation back and forth about kids and about parents. And I got thinking about that topic, and then I looked at the report for a second time, and I realized that we don't spend in the town meeting enough time really talking about the true needs of the community. We talk about the bridges and the roads and the infrastructure of organization, but we really don't talk enough about our population, our neighbors, who really need support. And so I'm just asking that, could you consider, prior to next town meeting, somehow shape that meeting around the needs that the community has that we kind of slip under the table, or we're too embarrassed to talk about?
I think Marion's point that all these budget meetings we have,
Yeah.
that'd be the place to discuss that, not really a
Yeah.
town meeting, I don't
So
think.
the town meeting that's Deb's show.
We discuss these things,
Oh, do you?
All
I
year
mean,
long, anyway.
some of them it goes 2 or 3 meetings before we finally decide that we're gonna either do this or not do this. But nobody ever shows up at budget meetings, so.
One of
But
the-
also, Tristan, not just talking about the budget, and if it covers the people's needs, but that's what we do here all year,
Yeah.
is, you know, so many meetings, almost every meeting has something on the agenda where it's of a concern about one or more groups of people in this community. We're working for the community, and these select board meetings are open, so how many times do we ask people to come?
Yeah.
See, the thing about the budget thing with all the organizations is we made it, not this year, the year before, that they have to give us a letter specifically telling us what they're doing for the town of Newfane.
Right.
Yes.
It's just a minimum.
It's not Wyndham County, we
requirement.
wanna know what they're doing for the town of Newfane, because we keep getting questions from people about,
Yeah.
why are we supporting this organization? So they all send letters.
Yeah.
So again, if you wanted to see those letters, we can make copies of those letters.
Oh, they're in the town report.
Are they in the town report?
Yeah, sure.
That's what backs up
I mean,
their,
really, a third of the town report is
their letters.
their letters.
Yeah, I read most of those, but anyway, oh well.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
I wondered if you might have had the same discussion with the school board regarding raises and capping.
Did not.
Because their budget is humongous and
Mm.
15 people went to that meeting to
Yeah.
approve
It
their
used to be
budget.
that the town was 80, or the school was 89%, and the town was 11.
Yeah.
So,
89%? Wow.
yeah, the school's 89% of your budget, or
No,
your
I thought it
taxes.
was
Your
80.
taxes
And
Your tax bill, 89% is
is
education.
for the
No,
education.
I'm saying I'm surprised, I thought it was 80%.
Now it's up now.
Oh my
But it
goodness.
just
Yeah.
seems like their spending is out of control and nobody ever says a word to them.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, part of it, part of their
The
salary and
town
stuff went up
gets-
6%
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, I think that the school situation has less organizational overhead than the town does. So a preponderance of their budget really does need to be compensation, just because of the allocation of monies and their expenses. Yeah, you're right. Participating in the budget conversations is a way to understand what you all deal with, and therefore to be sensitive to what you're asking for when the time comes time.
And when there's only 15 people from 2 different towns vote on a budget,
Yeah, right.
that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even ours, I mean, the town meeting,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a city, pretty sad when you go there, there's only how many people,
Right.
at the whole meeting, I mean,
Well, as at least 3 of you know anyway, I was involved in the planning commission for a while. We had, there are more people here tonight than we ever had.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, well, thank you for,
Thank
I'm
you.
terribly sorry if I held you up,
No.
Oh, no.
we were
but I think you're
Well,
pulling my
discussion.
chain.
No, I'm
it's
not.
Watch the
Watch
TV.
Watch the-
They get paid double.
But the next time, I'm not gonna do that.
I did say to them.
We're just
that
gonna keep on going.
I thought it was 6:30, honest to God. I
Well,
did.
that's why we
That's the old routine.
put the break on.
The old meeting started at 6.
Listen, we don't fool around here.
What
We
time
go
did you
hard.
start?
6 o'clock. We were done at 20 after.
That's right.
we had a meeting Thursday night too, so everything went kind of quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
So-
meeting down.
Please excuse my horrible error.
it's quite all right.
Just some 2 quick things,
Yeah.
based on what you said. If you look at the budget, the line item budget for the employees, I believe you're gonna find that most of our money goes to the elected employees. The line staff, who are just here and hired to do a job, I believe if you look at that number, it's gonna be a much smaller number than you may even think it is. The other side of it is, you mentioned, could we talk about this in town meeting? It becomes difficult to do, because if you say, well, I want to discuss X employee, that would violate that employee's rights. And we just
Right.
would not want to see that happen in
No,
town meeting, I don't
no,
think.
of course not.
Well, one of the things I did like your idea was, and maybe not coming to the town meeting and having, a few people stand up and pose, what does our town really need? I mean, what are the needs of our town at the town meeting? But those are great topics, and those are important to discuss. But the method perhaps would be a forum prior to the meeting, and then a summary of what the forum actually came up with.
From the
and
former attendee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I could see that happening.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. And, but so I hope you go forward with that, and I hope that there's some enthusiasm behind it, and perhaps next meeting we can have the forum stand up and speak.
Well, I have less than just shy of a year.
Yeah, just shy of a year. You got plenty of time.
We'll see what happens. Please forgive me for holding you up.
Quite all right.
Yeah,
Always good to see you.
Thanks.
Shannon, haven't seen you for hours.
I know, at least
She's
24 of
the
them.
secretary of my board meeting. So
Oh.
that was yesterday. Thank
Okay,
you very much. Good evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
we're back to pay orders.
Where we?
Yep.
We're gonna be all set, so
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Yeah.